Hello guys, once again it's Travel Oblivion. I know it's been a while, but I'm back and I came to talk about something very dear to my heart. One of my number one favorite single player games is Life is Strange. Ever since it dropped, I just fell in love with the art style, the story, and it's like a really put together story, and that's where having a gun and action games and kill streak, like it's where you don't have to have all that stuff but you can still have a cohesive game. It's the same vein as like Eden's Finch, What Remains of Eden's Finch, one of my another favorite game. It's like very narrative heavy games are like very fun to play in my experience because of just how the story plays out. You don't have to have all these new things in it, and no matter how the industry of gaming is currently going, you can't get no better than just a walking simulator with a story behind. Like even Death Stranding was a pretty favorite game of mine. Not the best because running across the entire of the United States can only be so, you know, and the story was a little confusing. But I digress. What I wanted to talk about in this video is how the animal relationships in Life is Strange. Now, throughout Life is Strange, we see a lot of animals that are kind of like your spirit, you know. And I wanted to explain and also to correlate which animal goes with which person. And I wanted to start off with Max. I think that Max has obviously the butterfly, and it's always seen in her times of like always needing help. Like it's always in the bathroom, and and I see it in one of the endings at Chloe's funeral, and I really think that that shows really it has a connection with her. It's always around. It's like an aura. And then the second one I want to talk about is the doe, and it's linked up to Rachel Amber. Ever since you heard her, ever since Chloe told you about the stories and you read the posters, you'll always see a doe somewhere lingering, most notably in the junkyard where you could take that one picture. And even Samuel talks about it. He references a couple times, and it's always anytime her name is in the conversation, the doe's not too far around. And then for Chloe, I wanted to say the raven. I don't know if it's a raven, might be a crow, might be a but I'm just say raven for this. The raven, it's more prominent in Life is Strange Before the Storm, which I also played, but it's still like a very pivotal part, and it's always those and that relationship between Chloe and the crow is always like always around her, just like all the other animals has a Chloe. Is that, and that is basically what I believe, but that's what they in the game, that's what they're trying to impose, but I think it's actually something different. Now, I was going to say put all these animals together with that, but it doesn't quite make sense. And what I'm talking about is I think Samuel said it first. When you're coming outside the door, I'm talking to Max talks to Samuel. He says, Chloe says, Max says that she sees a doe, and it was looking directly at her. And Samuel says, I think that's your spirit animal. But I thought that the butterfly was our spirit animal for Max. So I believe an alternative theory is that the animals are not spirit, or like it goes to a person. I think it's like a state or an emotion. Like for example, I believe mostly in Life is Strange Before the Storm that the raven is the emotion of pain. And the reason I say that is because we see it around two times in Life is Strange Before the Storm. We see it once in like a overview of Chloe's house, and it's a crow standing on the power lines overlooking Chloe's house. And we also see one in uh, William's nightmare, where he's sitting by the burning car, and the crow starts to eat his face that got burned off in the car crash. I believe that it's pain because it's always lingering over her. Like Chloe is the embodiment of pain because she lost her father, her friend, Rachel too. Like she's going through a lot of pain, and and David's not helping. So seeing the crow just linger over the house, that's, you could tell there's a lot of pain there already, and obviously there's gonna be pain there from William getting ran over, and her having a nightmare about, him talking about the fire and whatnot. So I think that's pain. And now for the butterfly, I believe it's peace. And I say peace because these animals, while they're prominent in like cover art or fan art, we only see them briefly. We never really see them like every single time. We only see them around 3 or 4 times, maybe even 2, like the butterfly. The 2 times that we've seen it is in the bathroom, episode 1, we all know it, where Max takes a picture of it. And then it leaves, and then Nathan walks in. And then we have another time is the alternate ending. If you sacrifice Chloe, the butterfly shows up at Chloe's casket, lands on it, and then you can see Max smiling. And I believe the butterfly emotion is peace, because at Chloe's casket, instead of being sad, Max is being sad, the butterfly lands and shows her that this is the end that she would have wanted. She didn't want her family and friends and anybody else who had nothing to do with it to die over the storm. So even though it's sad for her and she lost a best friend, I believe that the butterfly is signaling to her that it'll be all right, giving her peace. And a better example will be in the bathroom. The butterfly shows up when she's distressed. She doesn't want to enter the contest. She thinks her picture is terrible. She rips it, but then she sees a butterfly. She's at peace. And then she takes a picture of it, and then it leaves. The butterfly leaves, and that's when Nathan comes. So when the butterfly, which is established as peace, leaves, Nathan comes in, and then they go through the whole, gunshot, etc. So the butterfly leaving shows that absence of peace, and therefore trouble is coming. That's why I believe it's peace. And as for the doe, I think it's demise. I don't want to say death because it's only, okay, I'll explain it. The only 2 appearances that we see, well, the one appearance and the one maybe appearance that we see of doe is, of course, in the junkyard, like I talked before, where that you could take the picture, and it's there that we know that Rachel is buried there, so we can assume that the doe signalized demise, and just, it's not more of you will die, or it's more of someone is here, more of like a lingering aspect rather than like a warning. And the only other time that we possibly see a doe is at the canon ending where Max sacrifices Arcadia Bay, and then you ride through and you see does, but it's hard to say whether or not they're ghosts or not. So it's that's kind of iffy. I believe that it most likely is ghost doe. So it's signaling that people have died here, and I think that's what that stands for. So it's not so much as death or a warning. It's more of just it happened. Somebody died, and this is where it happened at, more of like a perimeter. And now I know when I got this analysis, I thought, why didn't we see a doe in Chloe's dream instead of a raven? But I think that as I said before, the doe, it doesn't signify death. It just signifies like someone died here in this location, demise, more than just death. And I think the raven is the appropriate animal for that encounter, because it shows how distraught she is over her dad's death. And I think that's just I think that's one reason why the crow is there. Now, thank you for listening. This is just a little theory, because I've always seen, like when I seen the remastered trailer, I've seen a bunch of butterflies, and I was like, we see them depicted outside the game, but we never see them. We always see illustrations, drawings, but we barely see. Each of these animals can be seen maybe 2 to 3 times, and that's what was interesting about it. I'm still not all the way sure what the doe represents. I have a general idea, I just don't know how to put it to a singular word. I thought they were all emotions, but the doe would never fit one of those emotions that I can find or articulate good enough. So that's just, just what I think about Life is Strange. I'm still playing through True Colors. I love the game so far, and I'm waiting for the remaster. I'll play it again. And it's been your boy Traveling Billion. It's just a long episode. I'm out.